just peated Scotch.
Alright, so we're going to take a look at a little sample of a very expensive peated Scotch in the Lagavulin 16. In Pietas was 115 before tax. You motherfucker. Smells like Scotch. It's like very, very strong.
It smells like Scotch. I don't like Scotch. I'm a bourbon drinker. I don't like Scotch at all. I don't know why they're letting me try this.
Well, how often do you get to try expensive Scotch?
Fair. However, I've never had an expensive Scotch that I've liked, so...
Fair. But...
Let me just say, smelling the Glenmorangie afterwards is like palate cleansing for your nose.
That's why we kept this for last.
This is what we call a palate destroyer.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the intricate flavor notes of a Scotch, but it smells like a Scotch. It smells like peat.
Flavor notes of peated Scotch, definitely very different from non-peated
it's
Scotches.
like...
This is the most pleasant peated Scotch I've ever had.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's like... I can't place what this flavor is, but the flavor that lingers isn't peat, but it's clearly a byproduct of it.
Who's Pete?
I mean, I don't know the flavor of peat, too.
Shit, I actually might
You've
drink
been with him
this.
too?
This is like...
Like, it will never be my first
this
choice
tastes
Scotch,
like...
but I would drink
This is probably a weird way to describe a Scotch, but it's almost like melt in your mouth.
No, I'd agree.
It feels kind of like that Jameson Black Barrel where it kind of dissipates.
I'm very, very glad.
The peat doesn't linger. The other flavors linger. And I'm glad, because
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of... This is when, if I think of a peated Scotch I'd want to drink, this is what I would think of, because the peat is what sticks around.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's really rough on the nose, but
That's
when
so
you actually
peat
taste
is.
it... Did you just say you don't know what peat is?
I know who peat is.
I said I still don't know who Pete is.
Get Out.
Great movie.
I set that one up, that's fair.
Yeah. I don't hate this.
I don't hate this either, and that's surprising for me. I don't.
Everything's been a pleasant surprise tonight. The things that we expected to not really like as much have been good.
I don't want to. I mean, I'd never buy a bottle of this.
If I were gifted a bottle, I would gladly drink the bottle.
Yeah, but
this isn't one that where I would try to give it away because I don't like peaty stuff. This isn't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is this a 16 year?
This is a 16 year. That is worth noting. But it's interesting how with Scotch, it does not do at all what it does to bourbon.
I said just how I like them.
What was that about not shit posting?
Wait. Pen.
I would like to make it abundantly clear that that was entirely a joke. I'd like to make it abundantly clear that that was a joke, and I do not actually prey on young women.
He's not Davy Vanity. Don't worry.
I'm not Romeo Lacoste, anyway.
Oh, well, actually, yeah, I do taste a bit of cherry with this.
But she's looking up flavor notes. Okay.
Well, I actually had this tab open because my dad has a bottle of this, and when I sent him a list of scotches, he's like, "Oh, try this next time you're in Texas." I'm like, "Sure."
No, this is... I thought that I was going to like this a lot less, having not been so much into peated stuff so far. I think that, like, I hate that this is so expensive, because something like this is what could get me into peated Scotch.
Yeah.
And what would help me develop the taste. But it's too expensive to get into it with this.
I feel like that's my problem with Scotch, is that, like, I don't really like a lot of the, like, lower end stuff, and that's the stuff that I can afford.
Right, that's also why you need... I think that if you're trying to get into peated Scotch, if you have the money, buy something like this. Where it's super peaty, but it's refined, and it's aged, and they know what they're doing. There's a reason it's this price. But otherwise, you don't want to start going with peated Scotch by going for an Isla. You want to go for one of the islands that are a little bit cooler.
I might want to try Talisker at some point.
That's one I've heard is pretty good for that. You want to go with something that is, because Highlands can be kind of peaty, and Highlands aren't synonymous with peat. So if you find one that's peaty, you can go with it, and it might, be a good in-between or a good way to get into it. Or, what's the other region?
Speyside?
Speyside, yes. Where it's spicy and it can be a little peaty.
Yay, I'm contributing to this one.
Yes, I couldn't remember the name of the last region. I know Highlands, Lowlands, Isla, and then Speyside is the one I always forget. Mm-hmm. Which is weird because some of the best ones I've ever had have been Speysides.
See, I'm iffy on Speysides. I think there was one that I tried that was, like, it had crab in the name. Something like that. Anyway.
It had crabs. Well, that's a problem.
No.
Seems like a personal problem.
No. Not crabs.
Got crabs, get some Old Bay.
One singular. Just say seafood buffet.